The day my wife's, white moonlight, ex returned, everyone was waiting to see me lose my mind and fight for her affection. But I just swiftly packed my luggage. I can finally leave. Thank you, thank you. The green tea, white moonlight was stunned. You're leaving just like that? I've already prepared 30 schemes to frame you. Tears streaming down my face. I patted his shoulder, almost wanting to hug and kiss him. Brother, do you know what kind of life I've been living all these years? Waking up at 6 to cook, cleaning at 10. After a long day, I still have to heat milk and brew hangover tea in the middle of the night, serving the insomniac child and the drunk wife. And that's not all. My wife is as cold as ice, and my son is as stubborn as an ox. Two ungrateful wretches. Anyone who wants this life can have it. I'm leaving. Thank you, brother, for saving my life. Sure enough, the green tea white moonlight's tactics were brilliant. With me stepping down, he quickly took the lead. Soon, my wife and he were intimate, and even my son was calling him Dad. I knew the time was right. I dialed that number. Aunt Wei, the 10-year term is up. Jinian and the child are now taken care of. I should go. Yunye, have you thought this through? If you divorce Jinian, you must return the millions in assets and shares, leaving with nothing. You must also give up custody of the child and never see them again. Can you accept this? I accept. Aunt, you don't need to try and talk me out of it. You know better than anyone what's going on between us. It turned out Shen Jinian and her white moonlight, Jiang Che, were both from wealthy families, childhood sweethearts, and each other's first love. However, at age 20, Jiang Che went abroad and became involved with another woman. Upon hearing this, Shen Jinian almost went mad, crying all day. In order to help her daughter recover, her mother, Shen Mu, found me, who was in desperate need of money. For only 5 million, she bought 10 years of my life to help Shen Jinian get back on track. From that day on, an intensely passionate admirer suddenly appeared by Shen Jinian's side. Not only was I handsome, but I had also graduated from the Peking University Art Department, talented, brilliant, and in the prime of my life. Under my dog-licking offensive, she gradually got used to having a male nanny around, but she never agreed to anything. Then came a drinking party. A rich young master wagered a cross-border project on who could drink the most. To solve Shen Jinian's funding problems, I drank myself into a stomach hemorrhage and was rushed to the hospital unconscious. That was the first time Shen Jinian cried for me. Lin Yunyi, I agree to marry you. I believe we can have a future. I later learned that day was Jiang Che's wedding day. The circles were buzzing with photos of him kissing his wife. Shen Mu on the other end of the line sighed. Since you insist on leaving, I will send you to Vienna for advanced music study as agreed. The arrangements will take a week. As for the divorce, you'll have to bring it up to Jinian yourself. The night I planned to bring up the divorce, I neatly arranged the slippers and prepared dinner as usual. It was early autumn, so I made a pot of free-range chicken soup. He le xuan, eat it while it's hot. I had enough fun with Jiang Che. Shen Jinian said carelessly, her eyes never leaving her phone, clearly busy texting. Shen le xuan, sitting next to her, frowned, looking impatient. Soup again? I told you I want fried chicken. Jiang uncle took me out and we had fried chicken. You just don't want to make it. Shen le xuan threw down the chopsticks I handed him. No wonder everyone says you're useless. You have no money, no ability, and you won't even make fried chicken. You're not even a hair on Jiang uncle's head. Humph. Listening to those young, malicious words, my heart felt pierced by a steel needle, sending shivers of coldness through me. This was my own son, whom I had raised since he was a baby. I slowly looked at Shen Jinian. Her reaction was even more chilling. Li Xuan is still little. Don't take it to heart. Shen Jinian merely glanced at him and said indifferently, Li Xuan, don't talk to your father that way. I'll say it. Shen le xuan made a face and ran upstairs. He's a useless good-for-nothing who doesn't even dare to talk back. In an instant, everything returned to normal. The huge living room fell into a dead silence, the crystal chandelier swaying precariously. I sat on the sofa for a while, then pulled the divorce agreement from under the coffee table. Shen Jinian was still staring at her phone, her furrowed brows now relaxed, showing relief and contentment. I didn't need to ask to know she was chatting with Jiang Che. This heartfelt joy was something she had never shown in our 7 years of marriage. I chuckled self-deprecatingly. I placed the agreement on the coffee table. It doesn't matter. Once the papers are signed, Shen Jinian and I will be completely free of each other. Shen Jinian, let's get a divorce. I will leave with nothing, I said calmly, as if discussing casual after-dinner talk. Shen Jinian simply gave a perfunctory reply, her eyes glued to the screen. Custody of Shen Lishuan will also be granted to you. We will never see each other again. If you have no problems, please sign it. Okay. I was already used to her careless response. After all, that's how I had lived the past 10 years. Now that Jiang Che was back, she didn't even bother with pretenses. I handed her the pen and paper. Shen Jinian signed her name without hesitation, only pausing on the last stroke. I looked over and saw that she was smiling foolishly at the screen. Shen Jinian, did you hear what I was saying? Huh? Shen Jinian came to her senses, signed the rest of the name impatiently, and didn't even look at the document. Isn't it just about the last group charity event? You can sign those things yourself from now on. She then got up and went back to the room, closing the door firmly. Watching Shen Jinian's retreating figure, I twitched the corner of my mouth. Sure enough, she hadn't listened to a word I said. 10 years of my life's efforts, only to be met with my wife's complete indifference and my son's contempt. But thankfully, it would all be over soon. In just 7 days, I could leave for good. My wife, my son, and this so-called home. I don't want any of it. The next morning, cold with the onset of autumn, I got up early, but Shen Jinian was already gone from the pillow next to me. After making a quick breakfast, I rushed to the 3rd hospital. I arrived at the hospital bed, and the elderly woman lying there immediately sat up, her face wrinkling with joy. Yunyi, why are you here? Grandma, I'm here to say goodbye. I handed the last 1 million yuan payment I had just received to the elderly woman. I'm going abroad soon to study music. This is the last money I'm donating to the orphanage. You, child, why are you giving us money again? Grandma Director was deeply moved, sobbing uncontrollably. I was found by her at the age of 5 and raised in the orphanage. Later, I got into the Peking University Art Department through my own efforts and was about to go abroad for advanced music studies. However, a sudden severe illness meant the director urgently needed 500,000 for life-saving surgery. To repay her kindness, I exchanged 10 years of my life for the surgery money. I used the remaining funds to help rebuild the orphanage. She had no idea how to thank me anymore. Don't mention it, Grandma. Once I finish my studies and return, I won't be short of money. That's true. It's wonderful that you're going abroad for further education. I'm happy for you. The director suddenly remembered something. But if you go abroad, won't it be hard to see your wife and child? It's better not to see them. It saves a lot of trouble, I chuckled. I've already filed for divorce. The director was stunned at first, then tightly hugged my head. Oh, my poor child, that's good. You've suffered all these years. Remember to be good to yourself in the future. I will, Grandma. After leaving the hospital, I rushed back to pack my things. I had completed the last of my duties and could leave the Shen family without any ties. It only took a few hours to pack up all my belongings. I also packed up everything related to the mother and son. The scarf I carefully knitted for Shen Jinian. The baby bottles I kept after caring for the child. For 10 years, I had done my utmost for this family. Even if it wasn't for the contract, I wanted to have a warm haven of my own. However, all of it remained a pipe dream. I took one last look and moved all those items to the trash can outside the door. Just then, a Rolls-Royce stopped at the entrance of the house. Shen Lishuan jumped out first. Seeing me standing by the trash can, he looked disgusted. Why are you picking up trash here? Aren't you embarrassed? Is dinner ready? I want fried chicken. Looking at the son I had raised for 6 years, my heart twisted into a knot, and anger arose from the bitterness. Go find your Uncle Jiang to make it. Shen Lishuan's face was filled with shock. This was the first time he had ever been treated like this. At this moment, Shen Jinian walked up with Jiang Che. Yunyi, Che's place has some renovations, so he needs to stay with us for a few days. Is that all right? This was the first time Jiang Che had shown up. His naturally fair and delicate features had not aged a bit despite the years of marriage. No wonder Shen Jinian had been thinking of him all this time. In contrast, I had once been young and handsome, but now I was worn out and exhausted from the relentless work. Shen Lishuan seized the opportunity to shout, "Hurry up and help Uncle Jiang with his luggage! Did you hear me, bad dad? Or I won't like you!" I looked at the two of them. "I'm sorry, I just strained my arm. I can't lift anything." Upon hearing this, a trace of coldness flashed in Jiang Che's eyes. Then he pretended to be embarrassed. "Oh, maybe I shouldn't. It seems Mr. Lin isn't very pleased. I'm truly sorry." He turned to leave, but was pulled back by Shen Jinian. "I'll help you with your luggage. Please stay. He won't mind." I watched the scene quietly and laughed bitterly in my heart. "Yes, go ahead and stay in our room. I won't mind. What difference did it make if he stayed or not?" Judging by Shen Jinian's attitude, this house would eventually belong to Jiang Che anyway. Hearing this, Shen Jinian immediately went to help with the luggage, afraid that Jiang Che would leave if she was a second late. Shen Lizuan also ran over sensibly, volunteering to carry the smaller bag. The three of them helped each other, laughing and talking, like a happy family returning from a vacation. "What are you standing around for? Hurry up and make dinner." Shen Lishuan sounded annoyed. "I want fried chicken. Mom and Uncle Jiang need seafood to replenish their health." Being treated like a walking menu was the norm in this house. For all these years, I had played the role of a nanny, not only catering to Shen Jinian's demanding tastes, but also customizing the most nutritious meals for Shen Lishuan. The mother and son had always been accustomed to having everything handed to them. However, this time, my answer was unexpected. "I can't." Shen Jinian looked at me in shock. In her memory, this was the first time I had refused to do a chore. Before she could react, Jiang Che put on a wronged expression, sighing. "I apologize. I shouldn't have come to stay. After all, I'm just an outsider and I shouldn't bother Mr. Lin to cook." He immediately took his luggage and put it back in the trunk, closing the door. "This has nothing to do with you?" Shen Jinian frowned fiercely and glared at me. "Didn't you say you didn't mind? What are you trying to pull now?" "The fridge is empty," I replied calmly. "I can't cook. Since I was about to leave, I hadn't gone grocery shopping today. Besides, I had never planned on cooking anyway. I might as well use this as an excuse and stop holding back. After 10 whole years, I didn't want to compromise anymore." Hearing this, Shen Lishuan threw a tantrum. "I knew it! You bad dad are the most useless. Now you don't even have groceries ready. Are you trying to starve us?" "You don't deserve to be my dad. I want Uncle Jiang to be my dad." Seeing the situation, a flash of smugness crossed Jiang Che's eyes. Then he put on a false, sincere look. "Lishuan, how can you talk to your father like that? That's very rude." "Sorry, Uncle Jiang. I'll be careful next time." "Never mind. Since there are no groceries at home, let's go to that Western restaurant we just passed for dinner," Jiang Che said. "I'll order you a separate fried chicken." "Uncle Jiang is the best." Shen Lishuan hugged Jiang Che's leg, flirting. Shen Jinian watched with a doting expression. The scene was incredibly heartwarming. The three naturally got into the back seat. Shen Jinian told Jiang Che to rest and let me drive. On the way, Jiang Che chatted and played games with the mother and son in the back, their laughter constant, completely ignoring my existence. "Mr. Lin, Jinian and I are just catching up. Please don't take it personally." Jiang Che reminded me deliberately, afraid I hadn't heard. "After all, you don't know anything about our past, so it's not convenient to discuss it with you." I acknowledged him, staring ahead with a blank expression. No need to know, and I don't want to know. After all, none of this mattered to me anymore. Half an hour later, the group was seated. Shen Jingyan took the menu and instructed the waiter. "Che likes his filet mignon medium rare, no black pepper." Even after 10 years, she still remembered Jiang Che's preferences. However, she looked at me and asked for the first time in 10 years, "Yunyi, which cut do you prefer?" "I don't eat steak," I replied curtly, surprising Shen Jinian. Married for 10 years, I knew her habits like the back of my hand, yet this was the first time she had learned what I couldn't eat. "Enjoy your meal. I'm leaving." I had delivered them and didn't want to stay here and make myself sick. The three of them made no effort to stop me, watching me leave the Western restaurant with a tacit understanding. I walked for a few minutes before realizing my car keys were still on me. I decided to go back to the restaurant. However, before I even entered, I heard gasps of surprise inside. Isn't that President Chen? Your family of 3 is so happy. Is this handsome gentleman your husband? No wonder you never brought him out. You must be afraid someone would steal him. Although Jiang Che had been away for many years and the wealthy circles had nearly forgotten him, his elegant conversation and demeanor quickly caught the attention of the gossiping crowd. Everyone immediately developed a favorable impression of him. President Shen and Mr. Jiang are a perfect match. You've been married for so many years, and your child is so grown up. Shen Jinian's face flushed slightly, and she did not deny it. Shen Leshuan added fuel to the fire, constantly calling Jiang Che Dad. Watching the scene unfold, I was slightly shocked for a moment, then my expression returned to normal. What is there to be angry about? I was just a toy Shen Mu bought to please Shen Jinian. We were merely a tool for the Shen family to cultivate the next generation. The contract was up, the deal was over, and nothing had anything to do with me anymore. Inside the restaurant, Jiang Che happened to catch sight of me through the window. He deliberately cut a piece of steak and gently brought it to Shen Jinian's mouth. Jinian, thank you for helping me move today. You worked hard. It's no trouble. Your affairs are my affairs. Shen Jinian smiled slightly, then opened her mouth. Jiang Che brought the fork closer and closer, their faces almost touching. The action was incredibly suggestive. The onlookers started to cheer. That's so sweet! Am I watching a romantic drama? Kiss! Kiss! Shen Leshuan also giggled. Mom, hurry up and kiss. I can't wait. In a public place, mind your manners. Shen Jinian quietly scolded him, her face blushing deeply. But this only excited Jiang Che more. He held her head and kissed her directly. She was hesitant at first, but as he moved closer, she slowly gave up the struggle, closing her eyes to enjoy it. Looking at her shy demeanor, I sneered outside the window. So this so-called female CEO wasn't always cold and indifferent. She was just uninterested in other people. I didn't have the stomach to be sickened any longer. I handed the key to a waiter and left immediately. Ms. Shen, a gentleman just came by to drop off the car keys. The waiter walked over. The two of them were still leaning against each other, their faces filled with sweet happiness. However, upon hearing this, Shen Jinian suddenly turned her head to look at the door. What? Lin Yunyi came back just now? Jiang Che saw that she seemed very concerned and felt a pang of unhappiness. He pretended to be surprised. Oh no, this is bad. I was just joking around. I hope Mr. Lin didn't get angry when he saw us. Uncle Zhang, don't mind him. He's just the nanny in our house, Shen Leshuan said, pouting. Besides, you and Mom dated before. What's wrong with a kiss? Leshuan, don't talk nonsense. Shen Jinian's expression changed, and she stopped her son from speaking. She then quickly grabbed her purse and chased after me. On the cold sidewalk, Shen Jinian ran over and called out to me, who was about to get into a taxi. As our eyes met, she held her breath, ready to be questioned. But after a long standoff, I remained as calm as still water. Don't misunderstand. Che and I were just joking. It didn't mean anything else. Seeing my lack of reaction, Shen Jinian grew annoyed. Are you mad at me? What could I do with so many people egging us on? I'm not mad at you, I said with unnerving frankness. Anything else? Shen Jinian shook her head, only able to stand there and watch me leave in the taxi. For some reason, a strange feeling welled up in her heart. When did he become so tolerant? Jiang Che had already caught up behind her, so she stopped thinking about it and returned to the restaurant to eat. The night fell, and the group returned to the villa, laughing and chatting. As soon as they entered, Shen Jinian thoughtfully prepared bedding and toiletries for Jiang Che. However, since she never did housework, she had no idea where the items were. Although it felt a bit inappropriate, she eventually ordered me to retrieve them. I quietly took the items out and returned to the study, closing the door tightly. Jiang Che clenched the towel and sighed. It seems Mr. Lin is still hostile towards me. Maybe I should stay in a hotel tomorrow. A hotel is not as comfortable as a villa. Shen Jinian's expression was complicated. He's been a bit strange today. Don't take it personally. Shen Leshuan immediately grabbed Jiang Che's hand. Uncle Zhang, Dad is occupying the study. You should sleep in the master bedroom with us tonight. Wouldn't that be wrong? "Oh, you're a guest. We can't let you sleep on the sofa, right?" "All right." After Jiang Che reluctantly accepted the invitation, less than half an hour later, a few pictures popped up on my phone. "Mr. Lin, can I borrow your razor?" The photo showed not only the razor, but also the mother and son playing games with Jiang Che. "It's something I've used. Use it if you don't mind it being dirty," I replied casually, silenced my phone, and fell asleep peacefully. Time flew by, and 2 days passed in a flash. Now only 4 days remained until the divorce cool-down period ended. I had already purchased the musical instruments needed for my advanced studies. I was practicing music in the room, but frequent noise came from downstairs, greatly disturbing my concentration. I went downstairs to see what was happening and realized it was Jiang Che egging on Shen Lishuan. "Uncle, I want to play Cat Catches Fish. Help me bring that fish tank down, please." "Stop." I blocked them. "You can't play with the fish. Pick something else." Shen Lishuan often played with this fish tank. Every time, he would torture the little fish half to death and then leave me to clean up the mess. I had repeatedly tried to teach him reverence for life, but all I received was curses and hostility. My intervention this time was to prevent the fish I had meticulously cared for from being abused again. "You just don't want me to play," Shen Lishuan glared at me furiously. Jiang Che seized the opportunity. "Lin Yunyi, how much are a few fish worth? There's no need to discourage the child's enthusiasm, right?" "A few fish aren't worth much. I'm just teaching him kindness." "How much is kindness worth then?" Jiang Che sneered, poking my shoulder with his finger. "You're so kind. Did you manage to keep your woman? Did you keep your family?" He was always the type to hold a grudge and retaliate, and after that night, he was even more eager to humiliate me. "I only protect what is important," I said, putting the fish tank back calmly. "What you just mentioned is less important to me than these fish. If you treasure it, then go ahead and take it." "You!" Jiang Che was clearly enraged. "Just keep being stubborn. I don't believe you have no feelings for the woman you've been married to for 10 years. If you're smart, get out of here quickly. Don't force me to do anything." This time, I didn't even bother to reply and turned to leave. A flash of malice crossed Jiang Che's eyes, and he directly lunged to grab the fish tank. I quickly reached out and held onto the edge of the tank. The struggle, the fish tank was accidentally knocked to the ground. Crash! Glass shards flew everywhere, instantly cutting through the skin of both of us. Just then, Shen Jinian came down the stairs. Seeing the scene, she rushed down, anxiously checking Jiang Che's injury. Her face was full of worry and panic. Che, are you hurt?" "I'm fine." Jiang Che collapsed, hugging his leg and looking half dead. "You say you're fine? I'm calling an ambulance right away!" Shen Jinian was distressed, fussing over him and bandaging his wounds. After all that, she turned her cold gaze toward the broken fish tank. "Tell me, what happened?" "He did it!" Shen Lishuan immediately pointed at me. "He was fighting with us for the fish tank, and Uncle Jiang got hurt protecting me." "Lin Yunyi, didn't you promise you wouldn't get angry?" Shen Jinian's eyes were icy. "Harassing Che behind my back, how can your heart be so malicious?" "Malicious?" I clutched my cut, my voice trembling. "I carefully raised these fish for 2 years. They tried to take my things. Get your facts straight." I had hoped that after hearing the truth, Shen Jinian would see right from wrong. However, her tone shifted, and her fury intensified. "So what if you raised them for 2 years? They're just a few fish. Are they more important than a person? Apologize to Che immediately. Apologize to Uncle Jiang, you bad guy." Shen Lishuan chimed in, shouting. The mother and son were about to lecture me, but the sound of an ambulance siren came, and they quickly helped Jiang Che out the door. I stood stunned for a long while, then slowly squatted down and cradled the dying fish in my hands. A sharp pain suddenly seized my heart. Only then did I realize the pain in my hand. The wound was a horrifying gash of torn flesh, far more severe than Jiang Che's cut. But Shen Jinian had used up all the bandages in the house. I had no choice but to wrap my clothing tightly around the wound and endure the pain on the way to the hospital. While the doctor was bandaging me, a few other patients passed by. "Did you hear? To ensure Mr. Zhang recovers quickly, President Shen used all the imported medicine." All the nurses on this floor were called to the VIP room to serve Mr. Jiang alone. Tisk, tisk, President Shen is truly a wonderful woman. I wish I had a wife like that. A wonderful woman, I thought, sneering inwardly. Cheating with her son in tow while still married and treating her husband like a dog, she truly was one of a kind. After leaving the hospital, I received an acceptance email from the Vienna Academy of Music. The Academy required me to produce a song as an assessment to confirm my skills hadn't deteriorated. Thus, I found a recording studio far from the city center to record my new song. The continuous fields and mountains in the suburbs were exhilarating. The frustration I had held in for 10 years was finally released today. For 2 entire days, I immersed myself in this peaceful place, cutting off all contact with the outside world, slowly picking up the musical talent I had long buried. With only 1 day left before my departure, I finally sent the finished work to the email. But as soon as I turned on my phone, a flood of missed calls and messages, 99 of them, poured in, all from Shen Jinian and Shen Lishuan. I was momentarily puzzled. Wasn't Shen Jinian busy taking care of Jiang Che? Why was she looking for me? Filled with questions, I took a taxi back to the villa. As soon as I walked in, the housekeeper and gardener rushed over with worried faces. "Mr. Lin, you're finally back! The house has been chaos these 2 days since you left. Mrs. Shen and the young master have been asking for you every day." It was only then that I understood. The mother and son were unaccustomed to not being served. Shen Lishuan was at school, which was manageable, but Shen Jinian was home all day and was going crazy. "Where were you the day before yesterday?" She leaned against the doorway, her voice much softer than usual, yet still cold. "A recording studio." Suddenly felt like singing, just trying to clear my head, I answered vaguely. Since she had never paid attention to my hobbies all this time, I didn't want to waste energy explaining. After a moment of silence, Shen Jinian initiated the conversation. "About the fish tank incident last time. Don't take it personally. Jiang Che is a guest, and he was spoiled growing up. I should naturally speak up for him. Che has already moved out. You said you weren't angry before, so let's not make a fuss over something so small in the future." Even her apology was reluctant and laced with blame. If it weren't for my absence these past few days, she probably wouldn't have bothered saying anything at all. I remained silent and went upstairs to pack my luggage. "Wait, there's one more thing." Shen Jinian suddenly called out, holding up a fish tank from the cabinet. "I personally picked this out at the market as compensation for you." I smiled suddenly. "No need, they were just a few fish." "They died, so what? I'm leaving soon. Raising any more fish would be futile. Besides, the ones I loved are gone. Nothing can replace them, truly." Seeing how magnanimous I was, Shen Jinian felt uncomfortable, even sensing a strange unfamiliarity. That night, I still slept in the study. In the morning, I woke up as usual to make breakfast for the mother and son. A steaming bowl of seafood porridge was placed on the table, and Shen Jinian felt that the long-lost routine had returned. But she didn't see me checking my boarding time. An hour later, Shen Jinian took Shen Lishuan to the group's charity gala without informing me. This was because Jiang Che was also scheduled to be there today. In the splendid hall, elites from all sectors mingled, clinking glasses and conversing freely. Shen Jinian, wearing a magnificent gown, settled her son and went to look for Jiang Che. Shortly after, I entered the hall. I was here to get my visa from Shen Mu. As I walked through the crowd, I overheard constant gossip. Why is Lishuan alone? Did his mother go looking for Che again? President Shen is so devoted to Che. I heard she bought him his favorite customized yacht, worth hundreds of millions, as compensation for getting hurt the other day. I can't believe that after all these years, President Shen is still hung up on Che. I remember they were childhood sweethearts. She used to follow Che everywhere, baking cakes and pastries for him. If Che didn't like them, she'd remake them completely. "Lishuan, since your mother loves Uncle Jiang so much, how about he becomes your dad?" The crowd roared with laughter. Shen Lishuan tilted his head. "I like Uncle Jiang too. I want him to be my new dad." He then looked over and noticed me, his small face instantly filled with disdain. "What is this bad dad doing here? You're not welcome." Hearing this, A group of rich young masters and ladies gathered to watch the show, their eyes practically overflowing with mockery. "Oh, isn't this President Shen's useless husband? You injured Ah-che last time. What trouble are you trying to cause this time? President Shen only took pity on your dad. Don't think you can be a live-in husband and climb the social ladder. Hurry up and give up your position." The crowd's malicious remarks continued, all urging me to get out. Not wanting to engage, I continued walking toward the second floor. Unexpectedly, Shen Lishuan suddenly pushed me. My foot landed on a fallen wine bottle, and I fell heavily down the stairs. Bang! A dull thud echoed. My head was bleeding. Shen Lishuan cried out loudly, "Get out quickly! Don't ruin Mom and Uncle Jiang's relationship!" Realizing I had been pushed by my own son, I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cave. I stood up, enduring the sharp pain. The blood was alarming. "Shen Lishuan, why did you push your dad?" Shen Jinian, hearing the commotion, rushed over and carefully helped me up. "Lin Yi, I'll take you upstairs to bandage you right away." But before she could move, a waiter rushed over. "President Shen, Mr. Zhang is almost passed out from drinking. Please go check on him." Shen Jinian's brow furrowed slightly, a hint of hesitation flashing in her eyes. "Yunye, I can walk myself." I struggled to move, clutching the handrail. "Go look after Jiang Che. The Chuan is already on his way. Don't lose him." Upon hearing this, a trace of panic flashed in Shen Jinian's heart. She felt that my magnanimity was not born of unconditional tolerance, but rather of indifference. "Mom, hurry up!" Uncle Jiang threw up. But hearing her son's cry, she finally turned away. She said apologetically, "Wait a few minutes for me. I need to take care of Jiang Che first." As soon as Shen Jinian left, I quietly went upstairs. I knocked on Shen Mu's private room. The latter opened the door and was startled. "What happened to you? I'll call an ambulance." "No need. The plane will be late." "Late for what? Do you have to rush to leave?" Shen Mu sighed deeply, helpless. "I know you've been wronged all these years. I won't stop you then. Here are the documents and the visa. Tell me if you need anything else." "I need one more thing," I said calmly. "Don't tell the mother and son where I am. I don't want to be disturbed." I thanked her, took my luggage outside the venue, and looked up at the sky, which was a clear blue canvas. From today on, everything about the Shen family has nothing to do with me. The 10-year storm has suddenly ceased, and I am finally about to welcome my new life. I took one last look, bidding a complete farewell to my past self. Then, I resolutely turned and set off for the airport. Meanwhile, at the banquet table, Jiang Che was whispering something to Shen Lishuan. As soon as Shen Jinian approached, he immediately slumped to the floor. "Mom, Uncle is dizzy!" "Hurry, and take him to the room to rest." Shen Jinian struggled to help Jiang Che to a bed in a room. But just as she was about to leave, he opened his eyes, tipsily hooking his arm around her neck. "Jinian, how about we just stay here?" Jiang Che pulled her close and turned her around, pressing her onto the bed. Shen Jinian's face instantly flushed. You weren't drunk? Why would I be drunk when you look so tempting tonight?" Jiang Che gently loosened her clothes. Just as he was about to kiss her, she stopped him. "Not today. Yun Yi is still hurt. I need to go take care of him. You won't have a chance this good after today." With Jiang Che's persistent persuasion, Shen Jinian finally gave in, giving herself completely to him. 2 hours later, the banquet had long ended. Shen Jinian searched everywhere in the hotel, but couldn't find a trace of me. Feeling irritated, she rushed back home. But after calling out for me several times, only the maids responded. "Miss Shen, Mr. Lin hasn't returned since this afternoon." "What?" Shen Jinian's initial irritation gradually turned into anger. In the past, when I was injured, I would only get a quick bandage and come home to do laundry and cook for the mother and son. I would never be hospitalized. But today I neither waited for her nor returned home. What kind of trick is he playing now? "Find him immediately! Tell him to stop acting moody!" Shen Jinian ordered and then returned to her room to rest. But as soon as she entered, she noticed that many things were missing from the bedroom. Books, clothes, even the wedding photos. Everything related to me had vanished. She often threw away old things when doing housework, but had she thrown away too much today? A strange feeling flashed through Shen Jinian's mind. She scanned the room, her gaze finally landing on a document on the bedside table. The moment she opened it, 5 large words popped out on the cover. Divorce agreement. The next second, her face turned as dark as a storm cloud. She frantically read the contents in disbelief. I voluntarily waived hundreds of millions in assets and shares, and even the custody of my own son. And on the last page, there was Shen Jinian's signature. It was then she remembered that I had asked her to sign something a week ago. She had been busy chatting with Jiang Che at the time and hadn't paid attention to the contents. She never expected it to be a divorce agreement. The papers were crumpled into a ball and violently thrown into the trash can. Divorce? What kind of joke is this? Shen Jinian muttered in disbelief. I've been his punching bag for 10 years, diligently serving him and his son every day without complaint. Yet just because Jiang Che appeared, he dares to abandon us and give up all the wealth? No! He must be using the divorce to threaten me. Shen Jinian became increasingly certain in her heart. He's just trying to scare me. He'll be back soon. He loves me so much. He drank until his stomach bled for me once, and he gave up his manly dignity for me. No one in this world loves me more than he does. Shen Jinian instinctively walked out of the room and collapsed onto the sofa, waiting for me to return. But hour after hour passed, and even by evening, I had not appeared. The phone rang. The assistant's anxious voice came through. President Shen, we've checked all the hospitals and pharmacies. There's no sign of Mr. Lin. He seems to have vanished. How is that possible? The normally calm and composed female CEO seemed flustered now. She hadn't wanted to call and beg me back herself, but she bit the bullet and dialed my number. I'm sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service. The phone was dead, and all my contacts had been blocked. Shen Jinian finally realized the seriousness of the situation. She frantically wanted to go look for me herself, but after wandering around for a while, she returned. Reviewing her memories, she realized she knew absolutely nothing about me, my interests, my social circle, or even the places I frequented. Where was she supposed to start looking? Just then, Shen Lishuan, who was out playing football, came home. As soon as he walked in, he yelled, "Bad dad! Hurry up and make me dinner! I'm starving!" "Stop yelling! Your dad is missing!" Shen Jinian said, annoyed. She had hoped to quiet her son down, but Shen Lishuan actually cheered when he heard the news. That embarrassing good-for-nothing is finally gone! Hooray! Mom, let's get Uncle Jiang to move in quickly. He can be my dad from now on. Shen Lishuan went on to curse me relentlessly, his viciousness making Shen Jinian feel a chill. She asked him in shock, "Who taught you those dirty words?" "He's your biological father." She remembered that the father and son were at most incompatible, not to the point of disowning each other. But ever since Jiang Che returned, Shen Lishuan's behavior had worsened, and he was now a little devil. "He doesn't deserve to be my father. I don't have a dad who's such a spineless good-for-nothing." Shen Lishuan pouted and said bitterly, "He even embarrassed us at the banquet today. I wish I had pushed him harder to kill him." "Shut up!" Shen Jinian's face turned black. "He raised you for 6 whole years. How can you curse him like that? Did someone teach you to talk this way behind my back?" Seeing his mother genuinely angry, Shen Lishuan was clearly frightened. He stuttered, It was Uncle Jiang. He told me that my dad was a good-for-nothing and that I'd be laughed at by my classmates if I had a father like that." Just as Shen Lishuan was talking, a text message from her assistant arrived. "President Shen, we just found out that the Yang family is bankrupt overseas. Jiang Che only returned to seize your assets. Please don't be fooled again." It turned out that Jiang Che had been manipulating everything behind the scenes. Shen Jinian slumped onto the sofa, her heart tearing with pain. She never imagined that the white moonlight she had loved for so long was a person like this. He would use any means necessary to drive me away and seize her property. I suffered so many wrongs. Would I ever be willing to come back? I must find Yun Yi first, then I'll settle the score with Jiang Che. Shen Jinian jumped up, immediately mobilizing all resources for a blanket search. She had now seen the truth and was determined to find me at any cost. 4 days passed quickly. Someone provided a clue, stating that I had gone to the 2nd floor to see Shen Mu before leaving the hotel. Shen Jinian immediately drove to her mother's mansion. The moment she arrived, she rushed in and asked, "Mom, where is Lin Yunyi? Did he come to see you?" "Let him go," Shen Mu said, seemingly anticipating the visit, trying to comfort her daughter. Anyway, you two didn't have any real feelings for each other, and now that Ah-che is back, you two were childhood sweethearts. I watched you grow up. "Mom, why are you also trying to set me up with Jiang Che?" Shen Jinian's body trembled. After learning the truth, she grew increasingly repulsed by others pairing her with Jiang Che. "I used to like Jiang Che, but I never agreed to divorce Yunyi." Shen Mu was utterly confused. "You didn't agree? Then how did you get divorced?" Shen Jinian was panicked again. How could she possibly explain? Was it her careless negligence? Or was it that she simply never cared about me? Compared to my attitude towards her, Shen Jinian was filled with inexplicable guilt. I had taken care of her and the child for so many years, almost more meticulously than parents would, practically spoon-feeding the mother and son. If he was in a bad mood, I would spend the whole day trying to cheer him up. If he had a poor appetite, I would bring him a different dessert every half hour. Shen Jinian couldn't imagine how terrible the past 10 years would have been without me. Jiang Che might have been her white moonlight, but now he only wanted to use her. Giving me up for him seemed utterly absurd. Seeing that her daughter still couldn't let go, her mother, Shen Mu, finally took out a contract from a drawer. Quote, "Fine, I'll tell you the truth. Back then, when Jiang Che left you to go abroad, you tormented yourself until you were unrecognizable. That's why I found someone to help you through the difficult time. It turned out that I, in desperate need of money, took on the task of caring for her for 10 million yuan. I had thought we could get back on track, marry, have a child, and live a life together. Who knew Jiang Che would suddenly return? To ensure they could finally be together, I willingly gave up all property and the child, promising never to step foot in the Shen family again." Shen Mu was still talking, but Shen Jinian's vision was blurred. She started to tremble uncontrollably, her fingers clutching the contract, turning white. 10 whole years. His kindness toward me was just a job? 10 whole years, my marriage and having a child were all just based on a few pieces of paper? He never loved me from beginning to end, so when Jiang Che returned, he left without hesitation. This can't be true. If my feelings for this family were fake, why would I have tried my utmost to care for them and my son? Shen Jinian was still deceiving herself, but the truth had rushed in like a tidal wave, shattering her completely. She tore the contract into 2 pieces and slammed it onto the table. Shen Mu sighed deeply. She hadn't expected things to turn out this way. Her daughter, who had been calm and composed since childhood, had only lost control once, when Jiang Che went abroad. Now, because of me, it was happening a second time. If they couldn't find me soon, her daughter would surely do something extreme again. Shen Jinian looked up eagerly, a hint of malice in her eyes. "Mom, you have to tell me today. Where is Yunyi?" Shen Mu hesitated for a long time, but decided to tell her daughter my whereabouts. However, when she contacted her subordinate, she learned that Jiang Che had secretly changed the flight and cut off all surveillance. The moment she received the news, Shen Jinian's heart was instantly filled with despair. It seems he is absolutely determined to break all ties with me. Shen Mu quickly comforted her. "Don't worry, what I can confirm is that he's at the Vienna Academy of Music. The rest is up to you to find." With this clue, Shen Jinian's hope rekindled. She immediately arranged for a private jet, preparing to take off at noon. She went home to pack her luggage, only to find her son and Jiang Che walking in. "Jinian, where are you going?" Shen Jinian's voice was much colder, even tinged with impatience. "Does it concern you?" Seeing the man before her again, she felt only hypocrisy and disgust. Jiang Che was surprised, but still stepped forward with a show of concern. "Are you feeling unwell? Let me take you to the doctor." "Move aside. I'm gonna find Lin Yunyi." Jiang Che froze. He hadn't expected that the reason she hadn't come to see him these past few days was because she was looking for me. What did that man do to make her like this? He cursed inwardly. He then deliberately fell to the floor, feigning pain. "Xinian, the wound from the fish tank has become inflamed. It hurts so much. Help me quickly." However, this time, Shen Jinian simply walked past him. Seeing this, Shen Lishuan shouted anxiously, "Mom, You like Uncle Jiang the most. Why are you still looking for that good-for-nothing? Who is the good-for-nothing? Shen Jinan stared fiercely at her son, her eyes blazing with cold anger. The father who raised you and gave you life has been driven away by you, and you still dare to call him a good-for-nothing? Jiang Che, are you spreading rumors behind my back again? Do you have a death wish? Sweat beaded on Jiang Che's forehead. Jinian, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Still acting? You think I don't know your little tricks? Shen Jinian was thoroughly enraged. She ripped off Jiang Che's bandage, revealing the fully healed wound underneath. You deliberately forced Lin Yunyi away. I planned to settle the score with you later, but now you've put yourself in my crosshairs. I'll deal with you first. Jiang Che had never seen Shen Jinian lose her temper like this and turned pale with fear. He knew exactly how ruthless she could be and what the consequences would be for him. Jinian, let me explain. I did this because I love you too much. Lin Yunyi is simply not worthy of you. We were childhood sweethearts. Come back to me. I'll take care of you and Lishuan for the rest of our lives. He desperately crawled to Shen Jinian's feet, looking at her affectionately. However, Shen Jinian threw the documents in his face. This is your take care of me for the rest of our lives? You abandoned me when I was 19 to go abroad, and now you're heavily in debt and trying to steal my property. Her eyes were extremely cold, mixed with endless disappointment. For a selfish and hypocritical man, she had thrown away a husband who truly cared for her. This was not just disappointment in Jiang Che, but in herself. No, this isn't true. Don't believe the rumors. Jiang Che struggled in panic, but Shen Jinian gave him no more chances. She had people throw him into a car and deliver him to his creditors. All these days, the creditors had been hesitant to act against the Shen family, but now that they knew Jiang Che had failed to get the money, they definitely wouldn't let him go. No, don't. Jinian, I was wrong. Hearing Jiang Che's screams, Shen Lishuan stood frozen, afraid to look his mother in the eye. Shen Jinian spoke coldly. I've indulged you too much all these years. Now come with me to find your father and apologize to him in person. 2 weeks later, in a foreign country, I finished a month's worth of classes and was walking outside the Vienna Academy of Music. Fang Jixia followed me quietly. Because we were from the same hometown, we had become very close during this time, inseparable friends. Yunyi, look at the news! Gossip about the Shen family's eldest daughter is everywhere these days. They say she dumped her mistress and is searching the world for you with her child. I only acknowledged her, no ripples stirring inside me. For 10 years, the mother and son ignored you, and now they're frantically looking for you? What do they take you for? Fang Jikyu was angry on my behalf. If she dares to bully you again, I'll get revenge for you. Hey, don't be mad. I'm doing quite well now, aren't I? I reassured her, and then turned into a small alley. Oh, right, I need to go back and cook for Yao Yao. I'll be going now. Okay, see you tomorrow. The evenings in Austria were always charming and dreamy, with the sunset glow spilling over every corner of the horizon. Breathing in the earthy scent after the rain, I returned to my residence. This was a detached house I rented outside the school. I spent my time tending to flowers and plants and playing the piano. Life was pleasant. Uncle Lin, you're back. A sweet voice rang out, and Yao Yao excitedly ran out. Because the apron was too long, she nearly tripped. Child, why are you wearing Uncle's apron? I made your favorite fish-flavored eggplant, you know. Uncle works hard every day. I don't want to be a burden to you. Looking at Yao Yao's dirty little face, my eyes welled up. Yao Yao was an abandoned baby. We met in the orphanage. At the age of 6, she was adopted by a foreign couple and then disappeared. Later, the couple died in an accident, and she was abducted by criminals and left to wander here. Once, my wallet dropped, and a starving Yao Yao picked it up and chased me for 5 blocks, determined to return it to me. Fate was such a coincidence. It was Yao Yao's thoughtfulness and kindness that allowed me to reconnect with her. Uncle, why are you crying? Uncle isn't crying. If you're not crying, then why are your eyebrows like that? Yao Yao mimicked my frown, looking very adorable. I was amused and couldn't help but rub her little head, filled with emotion. I had been married for 10 years, working tirelessly for the sake of the so-called family, always smiling for Shen Jinyan, yet she had never given me a kind word. I prepared nutritious meals for Shen Lishuan every day, even when I was sick with a fever. But no matter how hard I tried, the mother and son never cared about me or even knew what I liked to eat. Now, I was touched by a child with no blood relation to me. I suddenly thought, if only Yao Yao were my daughter. Come on, Yao Yao, let's go home and eat. Okay. The two of us, hand in hand, were about to enter the house when we heard footsteps behind us. I turned, frowning. Before me were the two faces I dreamed of escaping. Shen Jinyan and Shen Lishuan stood there, their hair messy and slightly wet from the rain, looking particularly miserable. They had been in Austria for 2 weeks, searching for me every day, and had only just found my address. I remained silent, simply turning to leave. Shen Jinyan quickly chased after me. Yunyi, don't... Miss Shen, is there something I can help you with? It's been a month and you still won't come back. I'm sorry, I'm doing very well here. If there's nothing else, please leave. My tone was utterly cold, devoid of any emotion. Shen Jinyan panicked slightly. Can't we talk about this? Come back with me now, and I'll give you anything you want. You like this yard, right? I'll buy you one that's 1,000 square meters and hire 10 gardeners to take care of the flowers. Oh, and you want to study music? I'll immediately invite the world's top masters to teach you. Shen Jinyan, stop! I cut her off. We are already divorced. Please stop harassing me. Hearing this, Yao Yao immediately hugged my leg, looking at the mother and son with hostile eyes. Don't come here again, you are not welcome here. Seeing this, Shen Lishuan felt a surge of jealousy. The nanny he used to order around was suddenly so close to a strange child. What are you to him? Let go of him immediately. He's my father. Shen Lishuan gritted his teeth and ran over, desperately trying to pull the two of us apart. 2 weeks of searching had already made him irritable, and now I still refused to go back with them. Spoiled since childhood, he took all his anger out on Yao Yao. He's not yours. Don't try to steal my dad. Ah. Yao Yao's arms were pulled red, and she couldn't help but cry, but her little hands still clung tightly to me. She knew that if she let go, she would lose everything. She knew Uncle had suffered a lot in the Shen family, and she didn't want him to be tormented anymore. Uncle Yao Yao will protect you. Yao Yao has nothing left? I can't lose you too. This cry tore into my heart. For the first time in 10 years, I was truly furious. A slap flew out, landing squarely on Shen Lishuan's face. He stumbled back in disbelief, then burst into wails. You hit me! For this little tramp? Slap! Another slap. The sound echoed in the courtyard, freezing Shen Jinyan in her place. Watch your mouth! I suppressed my rage, looking coldly at Shen Lishuan. I loved and cared for you for 6 years, and I raised a wolf cub instead. If I don't teach you a lesson now, you'll be beaten to death outside sooner or later. I'm telling you, you bear the name Shen, but you are not my son. From the day you first raised your hand, from the day you showed disrespect, from the day you took a thief as your father, our relationship was severed. Hearing these words, Shen Lishuan cried even harder. Although he couldn't fully understand, he knew I really didn't want him anymore. He no longer had a father. Mom, Dad doesn't want me! Shen Lishuan ran toward Shen Jinyan, crying. However, another slap awaited him. Slap! Now you know how to cry! That man just bought you a few pieces of fried chicken and you were completely swayed, conspiring to harm your own father. Shen Jinyan grabbed him and forced him to his knees. Apologize to your father now. Bow your head and apologize. I'm sorry, Dad. I was wrong. Shen Lishuan cried until his eyes were swollen shut, continuously bowing his head. I know you did everything for my good. I shouldn't have cursed you or hit you. His forehead was bleeding from hitting the ground, but he didn't stop. At this moment, he finally understood how much pain I had been in that day when he pushed me, and I hit my head. Quote, Yunyi, we are truly sorry. Both of us. We took your kindness for granted. Shen Jinyan's eyes were red-rimmed, We have realized our mistake. Jiang Che has been punished. Can we start a new life together?" The once arrogant eldest daughter of the Shen family was now bowing her head and admitting her fault to a former live-in husband. I didn't hesitate for a moment. No. Why? Shen Jinian's eyes were filled with shock. "Did you never love me? Not even a little bit?" "No." I shook my head calmly, without a hint of emotion. "All the good things I did for you were just part of the contract. I am merely a common man. What right do I have to marry into a wealthy family? What right do I have to win the love of the eldest daughter? What right do I have to compete with the white moonlight? I am not worthy of love." These icy words became thorns, piercing Shen Jinian's heart. She looked at the man before her, her breath catching in her throat. The man who was once full of love for her, who always smiled, now didn't even want to look at her. She had never seen me like this before. How deeply did my son and I wound him? "Yunyi, Shen Jinian tried to say something, but I turned away directly, leaving only 2 sentences behind. "I never loved you. Not before, not now, and not ever. The contract is over. Let's just treat everything as a farce." I took Yao Yao's hand and went home. The little girl gave the mother and son one last look. Shen Jinian and Shen Lishuan couldn't utter a word, their faces utterly devastated. As the door closed, the 2 sides seemed separated into 2 worlds. Inside the window, warmth radiated. Yao Yao and I ate a hot meal and played together, laughing. Outside the window, the last of the sunset faded, and Shen Jinian and Shen Lishuan, losing the last glimmer of light, were completely engulfed in darkness. From that day on, every time I went out, I found a pile of gifts at my doorstep, topped with a bouquet of fresh roses. I simply chuckled and tossed the flowers into the trash. Shen Jinian still didn't realize that I fundamentally disliked thorny roses. No matter how beautiful, they could never be approached. I left the remaining gifts untouched. A week later, Shen Jinian showed up again. All she did was apologize. Annoyed, I simply called the police. "Ma'am, your visa has expired, and you must be forcibly repatriated. Furthermore, due to your repeated harassment of Mr. Lin, your visa applications will not be approved in the future without his consent." Hearing the officer's words, Shen Jinian could only return home helplessly. Life without me became increasingly miserable for the mother and son. The new chef didn't know their preferences and often made food they disliked. The hired nannies were all easily offended and quickly quit after any scolding or abuse. Shen Lishuan wrote a letter of apology every day, hoping to hand it to his father one day. Shen Jinian tried every possible way to contact me. The withdrawal symptoms made her suffer the agony of longing. She flipped through her phone's photo album, but could only find a few rare group photos, all selfies she had taken with Jiang Che in the past, in which I was only accidentally captured in the background. How could this be? Did I really never care about him? A wave of heartbreaking realization swept through her. She finally understood the meaning of, "You don't know what you have until it's gone." Those few days when I first left, Shen Jinian had only felt inconvenienced by not being served. But now, having learned the entire truth, she realized she had long since fallen for me. She not only married me, but never resisted giving her body to me. It was just that the former Jiang Che was too dazzling, making her overlook the love hidden deep within her heart. Only what survives after the illusion is shattered can be called true love. "President Shen, I found a clue!" The assistant's call suddenly came in. "Hurry up and tell me!" The orphanage that Mr. Lin has repeatedly suggested donating to is where he grew up. I heard the director has a very good relationship with him. Maybe you can contact him through her. Upon hearing the news, Shen Jinian rushed to the orphanage immediately. In the director's office, several thick bags of gifts were placed on the table. Shen Jinian stated her purpose, but the director pushed the items back. "Take them back. I can't accept gifts from the Shen family." She looked warily at Shen Jinian, knowing she must have had an ulterior motive. To keep me from worrying, the director had quietly refused all of the Shen family's charity money after I left, knowing full well that everything from the Shen family came with a price. "Director, you misunderstand. I just came with one small request." Shen Jinyan's tone was sincere. "I can't contact Yunyi now. Could you please help me call him?" "Miss Shen is joking," the director said slowly. "You and Yunya were married for 10 years and couldn't contact each other. How would an old woman like me have that ability?" Hearing this, the assistant standing nearby didn't dare to breathe. In his memory, no one in Jiangcheng had ever dared to speak to Shen Jinyan like this. In the past, Shen Jinyan would have been furious. However, she not only showed no anger, but bowed deeply. "Director, I failed Yunyi in the past. Now I just want to make amends. Please give me a chance." Seeing her humble demeanor, the director only sighed deeply. "Miss Shen, I am not trying to make things difficult for you. Back then, Yunyi went to your house as a live-in son-in-law to earn money for my cancer treatment, and he suffered greatly. I am indebted to him. I have no right to make decisions on his behalf. Please understand." Upon hearing this, Shen Jinyan froze. "So I signed the contract to save the director's life? He spent 30 years sacrificing for others, yet never complained once? How kind and selfless is he?" After saying goodbye to the director, Shen Jinyan went to the orphanage dormitory. Seeing the simple, cramped environment where I had stayed as a child, learning more about my background, her heart ached even more. I was abandoned as a child and never felt the warmth of a family. When he was with me, he must have also yearned to be loved. But she and her son had wounded his heart again and again, leading to his complete despair. Time flew by, and it was early autumn again. At the Vienna Academy, I celebrated my graduation ceremony. In this single year, without the burden of trivial matters, I delved deep into music, demonstrating an astonishing talent. I released 20 songs which gained a significant global following. With a hit song titled "Lonely City," I earned tens of millions. After the awards ceremony, Fang Jixia ran over to tease me. "Well, look at you. With this level of skill, you still came here for advanced study. How are the rest of us supposed to live?" "I was forced by life. I'm not like Miss Liu, who's just here to gild her resume," I said, noticing her crooked graduation cap and gently straightening it. Fang Jixia felt my gentle hand, and a slight blush appeared on her cheeks. "So where are you planning to go next?" She had fallen for the man before her at some point. He was handsome, talented, and cared for her like a brother, making her feel a long-lost warmth. "I might return to China," I said, looking at the distant lawn. "I can't complete the adoption procedures overseas, and I want to go back and give Yao Yao a home and also build an orphanage." "That's a great ambition. I support you." Fang Jixia patted my shoulder. "My Liu family has some influence in the capital. If the Shen family ever dares to bully you again, they'll have to get past me first." "Haha, thank you very much then." After talking for a while, I planned to go back and pack my luggage, but Fang Jixia clung to me, insisting on going all the way back to my house. "Why don't I go back to Jiangcheng with you? We can form a music group," I refused. "You won't have a future following me. You should go back to the capital. Otherwise, your father will search the world for you." I had long sensed Fang Jixia's interest in me. I also had a good impression of this lively, cheerful girl. However, the gap between us was too wide. Not only was there an 8-year age difference, but our backgrounds were worlds apart. I didn't want to waste a girl's youth and naturally kept my distance. "Oh, but I just want to make my way in Jiangcheng. Can't we just look out for each other?" Fang Jixia pleaded, hugging my arm, but I insisted she return to the capital. It wasn't until the door of the small house opened and Yao Yao saw us that she jumped up happily. "Uncle, Yi, you're finally here!" Yao Yao had packed her luggage early that day and cooked a huge table of dishes. The two of us ate while communicating with our eyes. Fang Jixia blinked her big eyes strangely, and Yao Yao gave an okay sign in perfect synchronization. "Uncle, can Yi come back to Jiangcheng with us?" Yao Yao pleaded. "Yao Yao likes Yi the most, please?" Watching the two of them working in concert, I smiled helplessly. 8 hours later, the three of us landed at Jiangcheng Airport on the same flight. I bought a villa, and Fang Jixia and I held our first concert. We planned for 3 months, from lyrics to arrangement, from production to promotion. We poured our passion into the studio. I hadn't been this happy in a long time. On the day of the concert, the venue was packed with fans. Before going on stage, I unintentionally saw two familiar names on the VIP list. Shen Nian, Shen Leshuan. Yunyi, do you want me to have their tickets canceled? Fang Zixia walked over, worried. I chuckled. What is there to be afraid of? They're just two audience members to me now. This is our first concert. Don't mess up. TCH, I wouldn't dream of it. The stage lights were dazzling. As the music prelude began, Fang Zixia and I made our entrance. The audience cheered, but one face was utterly gloomy. Shen Nian watched us sing a duet and quietly put down the prepared light-up sign. She had prepared for this concert for 3 months, intending to confess her feelings on the spot. But Fang Zixia's presence poured cold water on her plans. Shen Leshuan asked, his voice trembling, "Mom, did Dad marry someone else?" "Don't talk nonsense. He wouldn't be so heartless." Shen Nian was consumed by jealousy, but she could only hold it in. After the performance, she came backstage to find me. The two of us met again, like strangers passing in a crowd. "Yunyi," Shen Nian called out first. "You're finally back in Jiangcheng. Do you know I've been waiting for you for a whole year? You came back because of me, didn't you? Let's go get remarried right now." "Ma'am," I said expressionlessly, "the audience seating is not here." Hearing such a distant tone, Shen Nian's fantasy was completely shattered. She had thought that if she waited, my anger would eventually subside. She never expected me to truly not want her anymore. "Yunyi, you can't do this to me. I was your wife for 10 years. Leshuan is still related to you, isn't he? He's your biological son." "Enough," Fang Zixia frowned. "You want to reconcile now? What were you doing before? Do you know what spilled water cannot be retrieved means? Security, take them out of the lounge. Don't disturb Yunyi's rest." Hearing this, Shen Nian completely broke down. Not only did I not want her, but she was being lorded over and bullied by another woman. She had been dominant in Yangcheng all her life. She had never suffered such humiliation. "It must be you who seduced Yunyi. Otherwise, how could he abandon Leshuan and me? I'll teach you a lesson, you little tramp." Shen Nian tried to strike out, but was stopped by me. I looked at her, my eyes filled with endless disappointment. "Stay away from us. I am disgusted just by looking at you now." The security guards rushed over. Shen Nian felt the world spinning. The mother and son were pushed out of the venue, relying on the wall in despair. They waited until the concert ended, and the sky had turned dark. I walked with Feng Zixia and Yao Yao, laughing and chatting, into a restaurant for dinner. Shen Nian came to the window and watched the warm, happy scene of the three of us. She instantly remembered how I had looked at her when she and Jiang Che were flirting. The bitterness surged up, choking her. She couldn't imagine how much hatred I must have felt for her back then. "Yunyi, I'm a tramp. I'm sorry." Shen Nian was consumed by regret and self-reproach, yet she still refused to give up. Just as she was about to enter the restaurant to cause a scene, several bodyguards surrounded the mother and son. Shen Mu stepped out of a Maybach, frowning deeply. "Shen Nian, the company's finances are in a major crisis. Do you still have the mind to look for him? I told you to go back and deal with it immediately. Leave this to me." Shen Mu ushered the two of them back, then walked into the restaurant alone. She paid for my table. "Yunyi, long time no see." Shen Mu didn't waste any time and immediately wrote a check for 5 million yuan. "You see the current situation. Jinian and Leshuan can't do without you. Given your excellent performance before, I will give you 5 million every year from now on." Hearing this, I suddenly laughed. My guess was correct. Shen Mu's heart would always only care about her precious daughter. Even now, she still regarded her exploitation as a favor. Everything she said was condescending. She never cared about whether I lived or died. She only treated me as a tool to be used and discarded. She was a spitting image of Shen Nian. "Excuse me, Aunt," I said, pushing the check back. I then wrote a 5 million yuan check of my own. "The Shen family and I are even. If you are not satisfied, I can also return the previous 5 million to you." If it weren't for the Shen family, I would have earned 5 million sooner and taken control of my life earlier. Seeing this, Shenmu was surprised. She couldn't hear the unpleasant truth she refused to acknowledge, nor would she allow me to disobey her. What kind of attitude is that? I have been more than generous to you. Shenmu's face darkened. If you stay in Chongqing for one day longer, don't think you can easily escape the Shen family's grasp. Fang Jixie immediately stood up opposite her. Are you threatening Yunyi? The Shen family certainly has some nerve. Shenmu was completely enraged. Thinking of her daughter's broken-hearted look, she wished she could drag me back immediately. Fang Jixie sensed the danger and immediately displayed an unexpected firmness, standing in front of me. However, the next second, the bodyguards rushed in and directly escorted Shenmu out. Inside the Shen family villa, President Shen, it's not good! Someone provided a large amount of evidence to report tax fraud. We are facing a fine of hundreds of millions. The board of directors is in chaos. All the shareholders are making trouble. What should we do? Hearing the subordinates' report, Shen Jinian was completely stunned. She hadn't expected such a huge problem with the group. She started to panic, trying to deal with it. But having been out of touch with the business for a year, Shen Jinian just sat there, completely lost. Just then, a text message popped up. It was from Zhang Che. Shen Jinian, you had me lose a hand for Lin Yunyi, and now I'm going to take brutal revenge. Transfer 20 million to me immediately, or I will expose more scandals about the Shen Group and let your stock plummet. Shen Jinian suddenly realized the truth. She had revealed some confidential information when she was close to Jiang Che before. She never thought he would use it to take revenge on her. She was consumed with regret, feeling she had been truly blind. She had put a weapon in the hands of such a scoundrel. Compared to my selflessness, Jiang Che was not even a hair on my head. I was so stupid. Why didn't I cherish the person right in front of me? Shen Jinian collapsed onto the floor, feeling like her world had crumbled. The Zhangcheng female CEO, who once had a happy family and a successful career, had fallen to this state. Useless! Get up for me! A roar of anger came, and everyone in the villa stood at attention. Shen father walked in with a dark expression, instructing the bodyguards to have Shenmu sit on the sofa. Dad, you're back? Shut up! I don't have such a useless daughter. Shen father's beard trembled with anger. I took your second and third brothers abroad to work, and I left the group in your hands for 10 years. Is this how you manage it? As the eldest daughter of the Shen family, you spend all your time obsessed with a man. What a disgrace! Bring the family rod. Several bodyguards brought out a long wooden rod and surrounded Shen Jinian. For the sake of an ungrateful man, you threw away your life and self-respect, violating the Shen family's ancestral rules. 20 strokes! Shen Jinian's clothes instantly ripped open, and she knelt on the ground. You cheated after 10 years of marriage and drove away my excellent son-in-law, disgracing the Shen family. You are shameless. Another 20 strokes. Shen Jinian supported herself with her hands on the ground, feeling the burning pain on her back, her face covered in tears. Mom! Shen Lishuan cried out and ran over, glaring fiercely at Shen father. You can't hit my mom! Good, good. Looking at the unfilial children he had raised, Shen father was furious and nearly passed out on the spot. Then this one is for you, to toughen up your skin. Shen family grandson Shen Lishuan, you are disrespectful and ill-mannered. You are a disgrace to our clan. Shen father personally delivered a heavy blow, and Shen Lishuan screamed and wailed. Shen Mu, heartbroken, quickly stepped forward to stop him. Enough! Don't hit him! Please don't! Shen father backhanded her. You spendthrift woman! How dare you come here? You said Shen Jinian wanted to die? Why didn't you just let her die? Look what you've spoiled this family into, Shen Mu cried bitterly. I was doing it for my daughter's good. Doing it for her good? Does that mean you can arbitrarily control the lives of others? Have you held power for so long that you truly think you are omnipotent? Shen father snorted. Today, you almost offended the Lu family from the capital. If I hadn't rushed back in time, the Shen family would have been ruined by you. The three of them were severely chastised, their eyes swollen from crying. Shen Jinian was in both physical and emotional pain. Recalling her father's words, she slapped herself twice more. "Sir, the disturbance has been handled, and the culprit has been apprehended." A subordinate came in to report, bringing Zhang Che with him. He was disheveled and his face was terrified. "Master Shen, no! Please have mercy on me! The source of all this trouble is you stray dog!" Shen father's voice turned instantly cold, his eyes fierce and venomous. "You lost one hand, and you still dare to cause trouble? Then I will ensure you stop completely." The rain in early autumn was often continuous. The first thing I did after getting my income was to brave the rain and go to the orphanage. Seeing us arrive, the director's worried face instantly turned to joy. "Yun Yi Yao Yao, you're here! I've been hoping for your return since last year. I'm so glad to finally see you today." "Grandma, I've been busy with the concert these past few days and didn't have time to visit," I said, holding Yao Yao's hand. "I plan to donate another 2 million to the orphanage this time. This is all money I earned myself. Also, I wanted to ask you about adoption procedures." The director was surprised. "You want to adopt Yao Yao?" "Yes. I don't want to see her wander anymore." "Adopting her would be wonderful," the director said, stroking Yao Yao's obedient face and sighing. "It's just that you're a single adult male. You can't adopt a child alone. According to the rules, you must have a wife to adopt her." "Get a wife? Where am I going to find a wife?" I looked blankly at Yao Yao. However, the next second, a voice came from behind me. "Marry me then!" Feng Jixia came over, smiling brightly. I quickly said, "Don't joke. How can we do that?" Even though I vehemently refused, the director immediately saw my shyness. She had heard a lot about Feng Jixia. Although she was also from a wealthy family, she had no heirs and had helped me a lot. The director thought this kind of girl could give me a happy future. She laughed and teased, "How about this? You two stand closer so I can see if you match." Feng Jixia pulled me closer, our faces almost touching. "Grandma, what do you think?" "Very good. You two truly look like a couple. Yao Yao also thinks you two look like a very compatible couple." Hearing Yao Yao's earnest, childish voice, all three of us burst into laughter. I was still a bit shy. "Grandma, let's talk about that later." "Lin Yunyi, are you looking down on me?" Feng Jixia said poutingly. "I'm not any worse than Shen Jinian, am I? You managed to put up with her for 10 years. The director agreed. "Boy, were you born not to enjoy happiness? A girl this good is hard to find, even with a lantern. Plus, you have such a sensible child in Yao Yao. If you don't adopt her soon, someone else will take her." Hearing those words, my heart finally stirred. I felt a young seedling breaking through the soil, bursting with life. It was my long-dead heart. Since Feng Jixia trusted me so much, I shouldn't keep avoiding it. Only by becoming better could I embrace this love. 2 days later, Feng Jixia and I completed the adoption procedures and went home to make a hot pot. The family of 3 sat around the table, the atmosphere incredibly warm. Yao Yao looked expectantly at us. "Daddy, Mommy, when the new year is over, can you please pick a date to get married? Your little mouth is so fast." Feng Jixia was a bit shy, being called Mommy for the first time. Just then, there was a knock at the door. I opened it and saw Shen Jinian and Shen Lei Xuan. "Yunyi, don't close the door. We're not here to harass you." Shen Jinian's face was very drawn. "I don't have a home anymore. I've been completely exiled from Jiangcheng. We probably won't ever see each other again." Is there anything else you want to say?" "Yes. I wish you both lasting happiness." Shen Jinian looked at the warm family before her, her heart filled with complex emotions. This life should have been hers, but now it was too late. "Dad, can I hug you one last time?" Shen Lishuan whispered. "I promise I'll be a good child forever and always listen." I hesitated for a moment, then finally embraced him tightly. After all, he was my own flesh and blood. How could I let my son live the rest of his life with regret? The mother and son burst into tears. Although heartbroken, Shen Jinian was afraid of disturbing the atmosphere of another family. She pulled her son away, enduring the pain. "Then we won't bother you anymore. Goodbye. Goodbye. I wish you both happiness for the rest of your lives too." I watched the two of them disappear into the light rain, my heart completely at peace. The matter had finally come to an end. They had received their deserved punishment, and I had gained a brand new life. I hoped the memories of those 10 years would fade into the traces of time.